is so gross.
So how long is the intro?
What?
Oh.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
You're watching Screenplay. I'm JJ. Screenplay is the show all about film and television. That was really gross, Blaine. Yeah, now you know.
You guys made a vagina together.
Oh, if you're listening
beautiful.
if you listen to the audio, you have no idea what's going on. But
We held that.
we should
held
definitely
hands for a
you should check
while.
it out on YouTube. Some fun stuff happens visually.
While they were doing that, I made a joke.
Good to know. Before we start, let's go and check in with Joey in the video store, Mr. Joey Aranda. Tell us what's going on, Joey, and what you're gonna be doing.
Nothing much right now. I'm looking over your tweets, so please tweet us throughout the show. So we'll have some of your comments on here, and I'll also be making sure we are on track with some fun facts.
Joey, do you have the mask behind you?
The Mask. I have a lot of awesome movies behind me. You don't even want to know. This is all my personal collections.
Yes, he does not have the son of the Mask because he only has awesome movies.
Was that Alan Cumming?
No, you're thinking of Jamie. It's Jamie Kennedy. Anyway, on our
Farmans.
show, you hear them. You can probably see them. We are joined by Mr. Brandon Farmahini, who is the manager for all of live action here in Rooster Teeth. And then next to him, we have Miss Barbara Dunkelman. I don't know why I said in that voice. She's the community manager, and she's also the voice of Yang on Ruby. And next to her, we have Mr. Blaine Gibbles.
Where's the camera?
Blaine Gibson, cast and crew here at Rooster Teeth. Thanks, guys, for coming down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
It was a long walk.
I know.
came
Thanks
all
for
the way.
thanks for literally like walking the 20 steps. So we got a lot to talk about, and we're literally just going to chat about movies and TV today. But before we do, we have a quote we start every show with, and if you at home know the answer to this quote, feel free to tweet us at Screenplay. So let's hear it, Joey.
The quote of the week is, "The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works."
The winner gets $5,000.
Don't say what it is.
That is so easy.
It is from. No, just kidding.
No.
just kidding.
I'll give you a hint. Shia LaBeouf.
Beef.
Shia LaBeouf. How do you pronounce his last name?
LaBeouf.
Is it LaBeouf?
Yeah, it's like a.
Is LeBeau?
Even Stevens, man. Even Stevens.
You know, that guy was signing autographs at Comic-Con near us one time, and it clogged up the hallways, and nobody gave him any shit for it. But when we clogged the hallways,
Oh,
with
we get in
people,
trouble.
we
Did you
get in
know
trouble.
that new tank movie that's Fury? With
Fury, yeah.
apparently Shia did not shower. He just
We
wanted
talked
to get
about that.
super
Didn't you
in
watch the
character.
show? We talked about that on Screenplay number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
sorry.
this is
I tuned
awkward.
in. It was just watched.
Yeah, I know.
sorry.
Brad Pitt and them were like, you know, we get what you're doing, but don't.
Yeah, they gave him like his own B&B because they didn't even want to sleep with him.
Nice. So something that's tearing up the internet is Michael Bay directed Up. Not really, but somebody thought it'd be funny to cut the trailer of Up as if Michael Bay directed it, and it's, you know. It's
I was laughing so hard at all the explosions because
So
it was
many.
just like, obviously at first it was like, oh, this is actually really clever, but then it's just like, pow, 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 pow.
There's things that exploded that should never have exploded. Like rocks hitting rocks were exploding, and balloons were like.
Do you think the guy that made the trailer at some point was like, I don't have any more jokes? Explosions.
Explosions
Stock
here and there.
footage.
It was funny though, it was well timed.
Yeah, the lens flares and everything. It actually looks pretty good.
The music too was great.
So, I mean, we're living in an era now, and it's been like this for a while, and it's really easy for like pretentious and kind of film fanatics to kind of knock on Michael Bay. He gets a lot of hate. Is it deserved? What do you think?
Well, it's interesting. I think I don't know if it was reviewed that well, but Bad Boys was a lot of fun. I enjoyed Bad
like
Boys.
Bad Boys
and
1
The
and
Rock,
2.
people really like The Rock, but I think after that,
Armageddon was good.
Armageddon was good, but I don't think it was well received. And I think after that, every movie he
What do you
did,
mean it was well received?
every movie he did was poorly reviewed, but they all do well. Like people
They
like
do
to
really
criticize it, but I guess there's something about in the summer just going see a movie where shit blows up
Bad
because
Boys
things
3
don't blow up around here. No
Bad
more.
Boys 3 just got confirmed, I think, by Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
So
Is he doing it?
Who, Michael Bay? I'm not sure, but I think
He has to. It has to kind of be.
Absolutely.
Like,
At what point did he become a brand?
that's the
Because
thing.
nobody talked about Michael Bay with The Rock. At some point, it became.
this is like Armageddon, I guess, right?
You think so?
I don't know.
I
That's
think it was
you know,
Transformers where he really started.
Transformers was when he kind of became like Michael Bay is just being Michael Bay now. If you knew about films, if you were a filmmaker, you're like, oh, it's Michael Bay. But like the mass public,
Yeah.
you can
Like-
say like Michael Bay and people know immediately what you're talking about.
Michael Bay didn't direct Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, and everyone thinks he does.
everyone-
Everyone keeps saying Michael Bay ruined it. Oh, he produced it, so he had a
Yeah.
hand in it.
It's
Same
like
way
a-
George Lucas did Howard the Duck.
Like Tim Burton in Night Before Christmas. There's some poor director out there that directed The Night Before
Yeah,
Christmas.
Henry
and
Selick.
nobody knows because it's there's something about attaching a brand, which is what Tim Burton became, Spielberg eventually became, and Bay became.
They're starting to do that with Nolan now, because what?
Oh yeah, you're right.
with Transcendence
in Man of Steel. Well, I think Transcendence is
it was
his brother?
it was produced, but it was Wally Pfister who did like all his. He was like a cinematographer for all his movies, and then they let him make his own movie. And I heard I haven't seen it, but I heard it was.
I thought you were talking about Interstellar. My bad. Yeah, no, they did that with Man of Steel as well.
True. I think they had to. I think they were like, listen, like you're leaving us with Batman. You're leaving Batman. We're trying to do Superman. Please put your name on it.
Yeah.
Please somehow put your name on it. We need people to come see this movie.
I wonder to what degree he was actually involved. Like if he just showed up for.
I know he produced it, but Tim Burton produced Batman and Robin. That Joel Schumacher directed, but like Christopher Nolan has nothing to do with like the Justice Leagues or Batman versus Superman or any of that.
Yeah. The guys from Lost, Damon
Lindelof,
and
Carlton Cuse.
Every now and then at Comic-Con in their panel, they would remind people that J.J. Abrams hasn't worked on the show since the first season.
Abrams,
but he's just such a big thing. And then Judd Apatow got so many movies made.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing. It's kind of cool. Like, he was able to give so many opportunities to different actors and different directors because his name was so hot. But all those movies that you associate with his name, most of them he didn't direct.
Yeah. Like, he didn't direct Heavyweights, but he produced it. And he didn't direct The Cable Guy, but he produced it.
Well, a lot of more recent movies that you associate his name with.
You mean like all the ones that all those guys are like Superbad and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a huge number. Go check them out that he didn't direct. He really hasn't directed as much as you think, but you know, they attach this name and they give all these opportunities to guys that you've never seen before, and that's pretty cool.
At one point, Judd Apatow was completely don't eat that popcorn.
Oh, it's fine. I already had it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought we put rat poison on it, and then Barbara's gonna die halfway during the podcast. If you're an audio listener, there's some popcorn on the table. We're never really supposed to eat it.
Apparently is prop popcorn, whatever that
just
means.
just shitty
prop
theater
corn.
popcorn.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they give you Play-Doh that looks like food, and they're like, you can't eat the Play-Doh, it'll kill you. But so going back to Judd Apatow, there was a time where he was on top of his comedy game when he did like 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, where like this really great 1-2 punch, and then he like spurned all these movies he produced, and then he kind of came in this, I call it like rich people first world problem movies like
the one where they're
like this is
40.
This is 40.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, it's so tough living in a mansion, like in like all these problems you're having. Like it's like, who cares? I can't connect with that.
We're raising 3 kids really comfortably.
And then his wife and his kids are always the wife and kids in the movies.
Yeah, I think that's tough because I think it's hard for us to appreciate that because we're not in that position. We're not. But I mean, I think the same thing with American Beauty. I think there might be people who connect to that, but we can't because we're not in that position yet. But I mean, at the beginning, where their sex life was so run down, and they were talking about how it would be nice for him to get a really, hard erection because
there's funny moments. There's funny moments.
And I totally agree. But when people say first world this, first world that, but even if you do have it relatively good to everybody else, in your immediate world, you still feel happy or sad.
I think the cool thing that he does is he does establish these little universes with there's like a continuity. He shares characters in movies and stuff. I think that's cool. It's kind of like
I think something that him and Adam McKay run across all the time is they always have 2 cameras rolling and they just keep rolling on film. And they just like, let's just keep going. Let's just keep stopping the popcorn, Blaine. I swear to God.
It's so good.
But so like they keep rolling and they just kind of, and it's good to have choices and it's good to like not say cut and just let them riff. But I think what's happened with Adam McKay and Apatow is they're getting such an abundance of footage that at the end they're like, I have too much footage, like you can kind of see where like Knocked Up it really worked, and then like maybe Funny People and this is 40 because Funny People is half of a really good movie, and then it kind of falls off.
But that makes for really good director's cut or extended features DVDs and stuff like that.
Oh no, totally. Yeah, the DVDs are great, but you don't go to the movies to see the like DVDs,
right?
Yeah, but the longer they go, the more famous they get, the more they can put in the actual movie. Like Anchorman 2. That movie should have been so much shorter. Like there's so many scenes that dragged on and on and on, but it's hard to tell them, no, you have to cut this down. Yeah. They're like, you know who we are? We made Anchorman 1.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you call it self-serving, because it is funny and they do have a right to do it, but you wonder, are you really doing what's best for the viewer? Because
it just becomes too much at that point, though. Like I think the beauty of Anchorman was it was funny because that was something new. And then they tried to recreate that with Anchorman 2, that same sense of humor. And they just kept going and going to the point where it became too much. Almost like Family Guy does.
Yeah,
where it's like
they really run the joke into the
joke
ground.
just keeps going, and it's just like, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. In the first Anchorman, Steve Carell kind of stole the show. And you said that because he didn't have a ton to talk about. But in the second movie, they're like, Steve, just
Steve and
Go nuts.
Go nuts.
because by that point he wasn't like Steve Carell from The Daily Show anymore. He was Steve Carell. Like they've all gone off to do
Yeah.
such great things. So it's like they felt the need to really let Steve Carell have a big part of the movie. And you're like, the whole like charming thing about Brick is the fact that he's like just like a little bit of a like just a little salt and pepper every now and then of the movie.
So
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen it. Do they just go overboard with Brick?
It
And they're just
they just give him a whole storyline, and there's like it doesn't really like really serve a purpose. It doesn't really.
Basically, anything that got a reaction from Anchorman 1, they just did it more and a little too much in Anchorman 2. So
Oh,
anything
okay.
you found funny, it was just like,
That's
okay.
rough. Well,
Yeah.
it was weird too because they ended Anchorman 1 with like, this is what happened with their lives. Did they make any reference to that in the 2?
Not really.
I don't
They completely rewrote history.
Yeah, they did an
Wow.
X-Men.
Which is funny.
Well, so going back to Michael Bay. So Michael Bay is now like an adjective. He's a term. He's a verb. Oh, he Michael Bay'd that. Like, you know, what? So my question is, what other directors?
Who says that?
I say that.
JJ says that,
It's a
yeah.
total Michael Bay.
Oh, he totally Michael Bay'd that jump.
I,
Go ahead.
Just one more.
I would think Tarantino.
Tarantino.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. Where
Like, if
it's like,
someone-
you know Tarantino films. You know the style.
yeah.
But
I
how
think
could
you
use
did
it in a
from day
sentence?
one.
Like if someone
Yeah.
was having like a really crazy conversation and geeking out, you'd be like, oh, Tarantino over there.
Well, I mean, you know, just I think the angles he uses in all of his shots.
no, totally.
Really extreme stuff like that.
I'm talking more like what other directors can you use their name in regular situations and be like okay, like if there was a twist, like if something
Shyamalan.
happened,
Yeah,
you'd be like,
Shyamalan.
oh, M. Night Shyamalan it. You know, like, is there anyone else besides Michael Bay that can be used as a verb?
Hitchcock.
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 Hitchcock is a good
Cocked
one.
it.
Cocked
Right.
it. He cocked it.
Cocked it.
Hit your cock over that
Maybe
Cocked it.
I don't know. Woody Allen and Polanski are two easy subjects, so I'm not going to go in that territory.
What about Burton?
Burton, I guess, yeah. Oh, I guess if someone was like super goth and like, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
know.
I can't think of any other
Scissorhanded.
ones.
Nice. If you have any ideas of directors that could be used as a verb or an adjective, tweet us at Screenplay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Joaquin Phoenix and Josh Brolin. There's a photo of them that came on the internet. Can we see that photo? It's so.
It looks
It's-
pretty solid. Those
so-
chops.
Yeah, we got to see this. Like he looks so hippie and so weird. It's for their movie called Inherent Vice. It's a P.T. Anderson movie. Very few directors that I get that excited about when they have a movie coming out. Like people get excited for Fincher, people get excited for Tarantino. Like there they are. So like, look at Brolin. Look at that flat top.
Amazing.
And then Joaquin Phoenix, like that is a guy that would probably come into the grocery store and you'd be like, man, you smell like something.
What was the Christian Bale, Jeremy Renner, the 70s?
That was American Hustle.
This looks a lot like it's going to be kind of like
like
American
people are
Hustle.
playing dress up and having fun.
Yeah, and it's like a period piece because that's what, 70s or 80s?
This is 70s piece.
Yeah. It
So
kind of looks like that.
The whole thing is like Joaquin Phoenix plays kind of a detective that's
Flesh.
like a huge stoner, and there's different photos that have been on the internet about it, and like some of them have short curly hair, some have like long, like I don't know. I'm really excited about it. Like Pete, there you go. Look at that. So P.T. Anderson, he did Boogie Nights, Punch Drunk Love, Magnolia, and then Heart 8, and like I said, he's owned the master. So his movies are like frame by frame perfection. He's like a filmmaker's filmmaker. So I'm really, really excited about this movie. I heard that it's more like a Cheech and Chong airplane Zucker Brothers movie.
Nice.
So it should be a kind of a
I
change of
had a
pace.
really funny experience with Boogie Nights the first time I saw it because I knew nothing about that movie. I only heard the name, and I assumed it was going to be like Saturday Night Fever. So I started watching it, and I was just like, this is not like Saturday Night Fever.
Well, if you think about it, it could be like Saturday Night Fever
It could
the
be
way,
like it,
depending
yeah.
on how your Saturday nights go. I don't know, Barbara.
It's true.
I walked downstairs and only saw the tail end of
Which is
that
the tail end?
movie.
Which is the
Where
tail
it's
end?
where
He shows his
watching,
Johnson?
and I was like, what? What?
I think we talked about
What?
this. They did a
I didn't
really
see this movie.
They did a really cool bit
No.
when they decided to go to video, and then they had that scene where it's like they're filming in the limo and it's all VHS and it just looks like shit.
Yeah.
You know? Did we talk about that?
Well, I mean,
think-
because I know that P.T. Anderson's a huge fan of film. Like he hates video.
yeah, and he railed on it because that one part. Yeah.
Boogie Nights is one of those movies that I saw at a young age because, like, back when I was a teenager, like, you know, like I heard this is a movie about porn in the 70s, and I was like, I must see this movie. It's about porn, and Heather Graham's
see
in
some
it.
boobies in
I'm gonna
there.
see some boobs. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like movies like I like movies now. I just wanted to see some boobies. The internet was different. Like all you had was like maybe one friend that had Girls Gone Wild tape back in the day.
See, I'm still in that state of just
I
wanting
just
to
had
see
the
some boobies.
scrambled, channel 87.
You're like, that looks like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a boob.
There's a
Is
boob.
that an eyeball? That's a kneecap.
Loophole, after 9 p.m., they stopped playing music.
Ah.
Oh,
What?
God. That
That
was
is
a
a-
sad childhood.
Well, so Boogie Nights,
like
I saw it specifically just to see nudity as a teenager, and then I ended up finding out that it ended up becoming one of my favorite movies of all time because it's just if you've never seen Boogie Nights, ask your parents' permission and watch it because it is like the shots, the cuts, the whole storyline. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in it. William H Macy,
John C. Reilly.
Mark Wahlberg in his like very first high pitch like.
Mark.
Yeah, and it's cool because he loved that cast. He said everybody gelled together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make another movie. I'm just gonna take almost everybody in that movie and put it in this. So he made Magnolia.
Yeah.
Which you could name probably about 6 or 7 different people in that. Actually, that's I know people are gonna rail on me, but I do like that better than Boogie Nights.
Oh,
It's
I
like-
mean, I love Magnolia.
Yeah, it's such a. If you haven't seen it, I don't know if you should at the very least rent it.
Yeah.
It's such a cool look at relationships and every type of relationship: father, daughter, boyfriend, girlfriend. Your past and your future, and how everything kind of like combs together.
And Tom Cruise is in it, and he does a really good job.
He's amazing. He's the best part of that movie. Like that's his best. Tom Cruise may be crazy, but he's good. He's a
Now
good.
now we're all sued. I hope you're happy.
No, that was yeah. He was pretty fantastic.
No, he's
Him and
so-
Philip Seymour Hoffman were tremendous.
Well, when the movie came out, that must have been around. I want to go ahead and take a guess.
99.
It was like 99 whenever, and that was a great year for movies. But when Magnolia came out, like none of those guys were as famous as they are now. So I remember I showed Magnolia to a friend, maybe I think last year, and they're like, "Wow, everyone is in this movie. Like everybody's in, like John C. Reilly, Philip Seymour Hoffman." I was like, "Yeah," but when it came out, like they were nobody.
Nobody's.
Yeah.
Was it William H Macy? Was he always that guy to you? I never knew his name, but I was like, oh, that guy. He's
Okay,
in like everything.
My first, William H Macy.
William H. Macy, yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, well, he's always been kind of like he's the dad from Pleasantville. He's just kind of that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy from this, and then finally he became a thing. But it was like, is there
Yeah.
any other that guys you have? You're like,
Yeah.
I do see him in a lot of movies. Like I may not know his name.
There's the guy. He was in Happiness, and he played the dean in one of the Spider-Mans. I met him in New York. I walked by him on his laptop, and I just went, "You do great work," and he was like, "Oh, thank you."
Oh,
I didn't know his name. It's
that guy.
I think
He's that
it's
guy, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Dean something. I think.
Kind of got like a long neck. And, like,
Yeah, no, he's
just
awesome.
an
He was
everyman.
in Road to Perdition. He's like in all the movies, and he's so
Yeah.
good.
Maybe Joey
guy?
could help us out with a
I'm
name.
all over it. My computer shut down, so I'm working on it,
All
guys.
right.
Oh, this is
Jesus
awesome.
Christ, Joey.
Jeez, amateur hour.
Yeah.
What is this?
Send him back to the know
Nice.
where they could know some stuff.
Whoa, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah.
oh my God, Barbara did a pun.
Did
What's
I?
the world coming to?
Unintentional.
It's like
Oh my
third-
God, Barbara did a pun.
What?
Surprise, surprise.
So
You know what?
unexpected. on
Earlier we
anything.
said the word Michael Bay so much. Like literally, I think we were like averaging Michael Bay every 5 seconds when we were talking about it earlier. I think there should be a drinking game if you're watching this. If you watch this again, every time we say Michael Bay, ask your parents' permission.
What do you think our demographic is here, JJ?
Just,
12-year-olds?
Listen on your phone and get on the bus to the hospital.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't
Supposed to
think
drop
the
you
people
off.
watching the show need their parents'
Michael Bay.
permission.
Michael Bay.
They're
They're
Michael
on
Bay.
the internet right now. I think
Michael
they're
Bay.
okay.
Although
Totally.
someone on Twitter, Blake Jager Baker at BJ Baker.
Name sounds fake.
He said when you were talking about directors, how you can make them as adjectives, he says when someone spends way too much money and too much time on something, they are pulling a James Cameron.
That's a good one.
That's
Good
funny.
job.
Cameron's
Jager
fucking
Baker.
solid, though. All of his movies are
Yeah,
good.
I will say there's never been a James Cameron like bad movie. Like I mean like the thing is like Avatar and like Avatar is not nearly so much as a film as it is like a ride at Six Flags. Like it's an experience.
Even the movies that he isn't really well known for, like Abyss, I guess you could say.
Abyss
That's
is a
solid
great-
fucking
it's a great movie,
Ed
yeah.
Harris is.
Terminator 2 is the movie that made me kind of want to start making movies. Like I think I saw the behind the scenes of Terminator 2 and I was like,
He's a fucking truck driver. Yeah.
yeah.
That's a great movie or a great example of a sequel that might be better than the original. And that's pretty tough to find, but it was
Reisinger,
just
yeah.
like, I mean, Alien is great. I think in some ways Aliens might be better, but they're really two different types of movies. The point is like he steps up to the plate,
Yeah.
because it's hard to take a successful movie and make a sequel. But apparently he's just not a fun guy to work with.
Well-
Like he just fires people.
Oh yeah. Well, I also hear
Someone
And
gets
then
hired to
then
get
they come
fired.
back on set wearing like a different
well,
shirt.
he started doing like special effects like for like Roger Corman and like really B movies. But so he would be on set like with brushes and doing paint. So I heard like even like during like Avatar and other things or other movies where like there's like blood splatter or special effects, like he would take the brush out of the special effects lady's hand and be like, no, more like this, whatever, and they'd be like,
That's
geez.
micromanaging as hell.
Ouch.
But I mean, those are people with a vision, and that's a total completely opposite. Where someone like a Judd Apatow or an Adam McKay, where you have someone that's like, hey, it's so loose. Let's see what this comes together in the editing room. Where you have someone like James Cameron who's like, no, it's this. It's specifically this.
I was reading on that Vice. What is it called?
Inherent Vice.
Inherent Vice, and apparently that's like there was just anarchy on set, but he was still like he was organizing.
Yeah,
everything.
Josh Brolin said he's like, I've never been on a big budget movie where it's so loose and experimental. He's like, it's not so much, it's less pretentious filmmaking and more Cirque du delay.
Yeah, he was saying like they have, they come up to a part in the script and they're like, well, we don't like how this bridge is, so let's just like glaze over these other 3 pages.
I showed you the blooper of Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix from The Master.
Jesus
Everyone,
Christ.
you got to go on YouTube. It's called like Cools. I love Cools, I think. And it's a scene where they're like smoking cigarettes and they keep,
Cools.
and then Philip Seymour Hoffman just keeps saying this line. He's like, I love Cools. I love the taste or whatever. And Joaquin Phoenix just keeps laughing and they have to do it like 3 times. And it's something so just enjoyable about watching both those like actors lose their shit and
Laughing their
turn into
asses
kids
off.
and start laughing.
Yeah.
It's really, really
That
good.
was okay. We need to put that in LinkedIn because that was
Have
fucking
you
great.
seen that clip of Joaquin Phoenix's head upside down and it zooms in on his forehead and it looks like a sad face?
No.
Oh.
It's on YouTube somewhere. We should put it in the link.
He also showed me the
Just
other
reminded
clip
me
of
of
Philip Seymour Hoffman when he does the guitar thing where he
Oh yeah, it's from Punch Drunk Love. There's look up on YouTube Mattress Man commercial, and it's like Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's playing a guitar, and he's like it's like an old. It's trying to be like a '90s, '80s like mattress commercial on TV, and he like jumps on this bed of mattresses on a car and just falls off and eats shit.
Oh my
And
God.
it is so good. So you got to YouTube both those.
Yeah.
Okay, so did any of you guys see Edge of Tomorrow when it was in theaters?
Yes.
What did you think?
Fucking
I
solid movie.
Why didn't you see it, Barbara? Did you have an interest in it?
I actually hadn't heard about it.
Oh, wow.
When it was out, I don't know. Like I don't have TV anymore, so I don't get a lot of commercials. I
you're
guess.
one of those.
Yeah.
You just read by the fireplace.
Exactly. I'm all classy.
I went and
like
saw that. You did that bullshit where like I tweeted, I was like, oh, Edge of Tomorrow. And you're like, why didn't you invite me? And I saw it after the movie. I was like, come on, Barbara.
Is that when you went by yourself?
I do that a lot.
Blaine and I are
Movie
both
by-
notorious
yeah.
for going to movies
No,
by
I
ourselves.
saw like
Nothing wrong
10
with going.
movies
It's
in
nice.
Christmas by
No,
myself.
it's
Nothing
nice.
wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's
Super
the best.
nice.
And
I
you get
love
to
it.
focus. You don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to like coordinate with anybody. No one's talking to you. You could just focus on the movie, get some food at the Alamo.
What's that
Better
strange
seats.
social stigma though with going to a movie by yourself? Is there
know.
something weird about no, you can't see a
No.
movie if unless you bring someone else?
I do it all the
Pee Wee
time.
Herman did it all the time.
Yeah, he did.
Look how he turned out.
He's doing all right. He's coming back. He literally cannot.
For those who don't know, Pee Wee Herman was jerking it in the porny theater, right? That's where he got caught.
you ruined the joke.
Well, I mean,
Too
just
soon,
saying.
Blake.
There's just
Too
people.
soon.
Too soon,
There's
dude.
people
Get a
that don't
comeback.
know. I'm just helping.
What would they say whenever they said there was a word on the Pee Wee's Playhouse? Like, what was it the secret word, whatever? You guys
Oh.
before your time.
And then like the balloons would come down. Yeah.
Yeah. Phil
Did-
Hartman, got started on the Pee Wee's show.
Did like the internet porn throw the movie theaters, XXX movie theaters? Like they
No, well,
killed
that
the
one-
industry. I don't know who would go there.
Well,
that seems so awkward.
There still exists in The Departed.
Well, Fred Ward got
That's my
busted. That was the
Thursday
thing.
night.
The guy from like all the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was on Jay Leno and stuff. He got busted a couple years back, and I was like, "Are there still porn movie theaters?"
Yeah, it seems like there'd be 100 people when the movie starts, and then 5 minutes in,
You know,
it's like 3 guys.
Let's go jerk off together,
I'll
guys.
tell, I'll
It'll
tell
be
you who does
awesome.
it. I'll tell you who does it. Like, you know how you have the fucking kind of like pretentious music guys are like, oh, I only listen to vinyl. Like there's like some pretentious
I
like
only
porn
jerk off
guys.
in theaters.
Or you guys use computers and your phones? No, man, I go to theaters.
Oh god.
We went there. Anyway, so I don't know how we got from Edge of Tomorrow to Edge of Our Pants so quickly.
Oh, I do.
So Edge of Tomorrow is getting some heat. And first of all, I saw the movie. I thought it was really good. It was one of those movies that Reddit wouldn't like shut up about for weeks. It was like because Tom Cruise, unfortunately, when you see a Tom Cruise movie now, because he's been so much in the media for just kind of being a weird guy and crazy guy. So when you see a science fiction Tom Cruise movie like Oblivion or this, you're just kind of like, another Tom Cruise movie. But everyone kept saying like, no, this one's actually really good. And Matt, actually, Helm from Rooster Teeth was talking to me about it today, and he was talking about how much he enjoyed it and how much of it was more like an actual video game than other video game movies.
Yeah.
Like, because, you like live, you die, and then you start again, and you get like farther next time. And he just really enjoyed it. And he also said it was funny because he thought it was really weird because Halo is ripping off Aliens. Right? And Aliens has Bill Paxton. And then Edge of Tomorrow is ripping off Halo. And Bill Paxton's in Edge of Tomorrow. And he's like, it all comes
If A
full
equals B,
circle.
does B equal C? Does A?
Whoa. But the thing about Edge of Tomorrow, they're getting a lot of heat right now because the movie didn't do too well. It got like 360 million in theaters, but apparently that's considered a failure.
Well, how much was the budget?
I think it was like 175.
Whoa.
But the whole thing is they're rebranding it. Like they're not calling it Edge of Tomorrow anymore. They're calling it Live, Die, Repeat.
That is
Well-
the weirdest thing to me.
To change the name of a movie after it's
After
out.
it's
Yeah.
out.
Well, the name of the actual comic book it's based off of is something other. Was it?
It's all you
something kill.
It's all you need is kill.
All you need is kill. So then they had to rename it for the movie, and then I guess they're doing it again. I've never heard of that happening before.
so it's 3 names.
Well, there's a
essentially.
lot of
pretty
movie, like I think a Dame to A Dame to Kill For is the new Sin City coming out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. They changed the name for like a week. They changed it to A Dame to Die For because they thought kill was too much, too much. And then I think at the end they were just like, "Fuck that, we're going kill. Let's do kill."
And then they showed Ava Green's boobs on the poster. They're just like, whatever.
We don't care. Well, I mean, Rodriguez, like, I mean, he jumped. He quit the guild. You know, he's not part of the Directors Guild. Like, they were like, you can't co-direct a movie with Frank Miller. You can't do that. It's not allowed. And he was like, watch me. I quit the guild. I do whatever I want. I'm Rob Rodriguez.
Yeehaw!
And he has his
I don't know
cowboy
why he
hat.
would say yeehaw. But,
Yeah,
you know.
so I don't know. That might cause some confusion, but then again, like I think the moviegoers that saw it, you know, would know what to look for.
I
Like
think it's pretty genius. I mean, companies have been doing this forever. You just take the same thing and you rebrand it. You put a new sticker on it, and it has this whole other life.
But a movie's different.
Yeah.
Because a
It's
movie is
different
known
if-
for its title.
What if Groundhog Day changed its name to Live, Die, Repeat?
I mean, I guess like
I mean, it's close.
I mean, I'm not affected since they changed the name. You know,
really,
like
you're not
there's
affected
no-
like when you go home at night.
No,
You're not like
it's not
Lay
a
awake in
thing.
bed.
I mean, if they change it, I
think
mean, I
it's-
guess it's a movie. They're not supposed to do that, but there's no I don't know what governs that idea. They did it, and if it
I mean,
works and it does
marketing,
well,
It's
marketing.
interesting from a marketing perspective because it almost gets new legs when this
Yeah.
happens, where everyone starts talking about it and it's all the buzz on Reddit and all
Yeah.
over the internet, where it's like, why would they do this? This is crazy. But
Oh.
if anything, that just gives it like,
yeah, they're
Well,
turning up
the other
That's
publicity.
true. No, that's actually genius, Barbara. Like because people are talking about it
Yeah.
now.
the other thing is this is their big release.
Yeah.
Theaters aren't your big release. I mean, a movie makes $100 million. Like a third of that goes to a movie theater, another third goes to the distributor who sent the movie out, and then the other third goes to the people who actually make it. So the actual companies that make these movies don't make that much money, not even counting all the money they spend on marketing, which is astronomical. It's all about your video release, your DVD, your digital distribution. So that's the big focus. They couldn't care less what it was called in the theater.
Do you guys
Hold on,
know?
Blaine has a joke. I can see it on his face.
Do you have do you know another movie that named itself something new after it came out?
What?
Star Wars. Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. It like went through the whole, you know.
Look how excited he is.
I like Star Wars.
I like Star Wars. No, we're going to talk about Star Wars.
It's my
here in a
favorite
bit.
movie.
Yeah, we are.
Blaine's got some Star Wars talking points. Brandon wanted to talk about a movie called Calvary. I think we have some of the trailer. Tell us a little bit about Calvary.
Well, I saw the trailer. I think
Watch
we
that
both
too.
did watching Boyhood,
Boyhood.
and I was like, oh, I really need to see this movie. And then I got kind of busy over the weekend, and it wasn't a thing that like really I have to see this movie. And it got me thinking, for the people who work on movies like this, and I heard it's fantastic, knowing you're going to work on something that's not going to market itself, and you're up against a wall, not only make it good, but also getting people to see it. Is that hard?
Yeah.
You know, like if you're working on something that's a lot bigger, good or bad, but you know is going to be big, I think it's a little bit easier to spend years of your life working on it. But I wonder how hard it is to spend your life on something that I think the domestic total was, I believe, less than $500,000.
Of
And it's-
Calvary?
Yeah, and it's been out for a while. But I hear it's great, and
I'm sure
I will
it'll
see it
do
this
well.
weekend. But
I'm sure
it's,
it'll
it's
do
one
well,
of
like,
those
on Netflix
things.
and stuff.
I was like asking myself, like, why wasn't I forced to see it? And there's just something about, I don't think the way it was marketed or what it is, it just didn't have that. It didn't have that hook.
Yeah.
It made 942,000 here in the States, but it made over 7 million.
Oh, thank you,
International?
Joe.
It's definitely an international looking movie. You look at you got Chris McDowd, or I was thinking of saying his name right.
Mad-Eye Moody.
And you have Mad-Eye Moody, not Hagrid.
Seems Greasing or something.
And then Dylan Moran, who I love from a BBC show called Black Books, but most people know him from Shaun of the Dead as the Harry Potter looking motherfucker that has a crush on Sean's girlfriend.
Potter.
He's a
That
dick
gets
in it.
torn to shit.
Yeah.
But if you don't know him from like BBC comedies, he's hilarious. So this movie looks really interesting. Brandon, you and I were talking about it, like, because you watched the trailer. And it looks like it could be one of those like machete, like kind of B movies, like the priest with the gun.
Yeah, I was explaining it, and they're like Machete. I was like, no, he has a gun. He looks like he's gonna kick ass, but it's weird. You know,
it
it's
didn't feel
weird
like
to
that, though.
describe in like 3 minutes, or
Yeah.
not 3 minutes. It's weird to describe in 3 sentences.
Nice.
Looks a little bit
Also
more
3
artsy.
minutes.
Also 3
Oh,
minutes.
it's definitely artsy. It's definitely more art house fare. I mean, I remember it was one of those things that we were talking
See,
about.
that's the thing, though, that you fight that idea.
Yeah, you have
Art
to.
house. It's like, how do you break that
Can't
and
market
just say,
that.
I'm just making a good movie?
I think
That's
so.
the tough
I think the
thing.
last person did a really good job of that was Drive. Drive did a really good job of like breaking through, like, because they not only got that art house like audience, but they also got like the Gone in 60 Seconds Fast and Furious audience.
I think Ryan Gosling helped out a lot.
Oh,
on
he definitely
that.
helped that a lot.
Chicks were all over that. But yeah.
Oh, he helps with everything.
It was a solid movie.
Can confirm.
Can confirm. Nice. Okay, so Blaine, I think you wanted to talk to us a little bit about Star Wars.
What do you want to know?
Wait.
Okay,
Good
I want to bring something up about Star Wars.
Okay.
One of the things that we're going to talk about is Han Solo's new outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a photo,
We do.
We do.
Patrick said he did.
but
Let's keep going.
the photo, the one of him in the black jacket over there, it looks like every motherfucking girl in Montreal who goes to college.
That's so weird.
Wearing their black tights and their Canada Goose parka and their Ugg boots.
I was writing the story for the note so Blaine can read it because I know he loves Star Wars. And I turned to Meg Turney and I was like, look at this fucking photo. It looks like every video that Jennifer Lopez has ever been in where she's like LL Cool J walking in the snow. Like I was like, what are they thinking?
It's crazy.
It looks just like his outfit from Hoth, which a lot of people are saying. And there's also the appearance of the snowtrooper helmets. So people are thinking maybe not Hoth, but there is an ice planet on there.
Don't knock on it too quick, because you know at some point Blaine's gonna dress in that exact same outfit.
Yes.
Well, if you need some of the materials, just go back to Montreal, find one of the some there,
and bring me
find
some
a
maple
girl.
syrup, because that shit's delicious.
I've already been Han Solo once for Halloween. But
I
okay,
remember
so
that.
they do have the new Stormtrooper helmets out, which Patrick can pull us up, but they look pretty solid. And the
I like
big
them,
thing.
the first time I saw him in Battlestar.
So they are very Battlestar Galactica.
Well, the big thing now is people are wondering, well, if they killed the Emperor and they killed Darth Vader at the end, then how are there still Stormtrooper helmets, and why are they still like progressing? Like it looks like they're they have the money to make these new armors, and well, that's the McQuarrie's original design that wasn't released. But yeah, so my theory is that if you killed the president and the vice president of the United States would not cease to exist. So the Empire is still alive, and in the extended universe, which is now rendered not canon, the Empire's still very real. It's
so
a
the
huge
Empire's
threat.
like the rebels now.
No, it's just kind of like I guess it's just like a battle between the two.
I think Robot Chicken addresses that too. If you like Star Wars, no, I'm serious. They make so many excellent points about the realities and the plot points, and it's like the Empire's over. It's like, wait, but it's just two guys. I mean, there's like 1,000 other people who could take their place.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought all the images are cool. Like I said, I like the Stormtrooper helmets. They do seem a little Cylon to me. Almost said anyway.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the Han Solo
Outfit.
costume though? Like one thing I thought was particularly interesting is you see on the very left, that's his scoundrel outfit from the original trilogy. And then in the third picture, that's his new look.
And then Obi-Wan's in there for some reason.
Yeah, well, the thing that
Red
caught my
lightsaber.
eye
The fuck?
is what his overcoat. I mean, it reminded me a lot of Obi-Wan in the original
It kinda reminds me of-
trilogy. It's like
Yeah.
he's growing up or becoming wiser. He's not the guy that's going to shoot first.
No. That coat, he totally wore like a green coat that was just like that on the Forest Moon of Endor.
It reminds me more of
in Return
Firefly.
Jedi.
It kind of looks like it has like a Firefly kind of like gunslinger kind of thing going on.
Or they
To
just
me,
returned it to Endor.
it just felt like a little bit older and a
Yeah.
little bit wiser. And he's not coming back looking like that same, scoundrel, which I think is cool because it'd be good to see some character progression.
Yeah.
It'd be good to see not exactly where did we leave off, but how have these guys, evolved.
Well, I want to talk about as far as the leaked concept art and the helmets. They've also leaked like kind of plot points, like Han's supposed to start off like driving what kind of destroyer?
Yeah, it's a Super Star Destroyer. I think I had that picture as well. So the story that I hear is that oh Jesus, I'm the guy that was in the
Use your brain.
oh my God, he's another.
Oh, you're Spock.
Adam Driver. Adam Driver
The
from
Millennium
Girls.
Falcon is being driven by the guy that was in Llewyn Davis, and I can't remember his name. He's an awesome actor. He's also in Drive.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So he's piloting the Millennium Falcon now, and apparently Solo has a Super Star Destroyer, which if you can see the comparison between the regular Star Destroyer, it's this massive ship. But I think that's cool too, because it's like, all right, there's stormtroopers that still exist, but they have like the Emperor's like ships and stuff. So like I really want to know what's going on in the universe right now. Like
Yeah.
I'm so confused and excited.
Well, here's the thing about leaks and stuff. Like they're cool to know. They get your geek they raise your geek hairs on your neck and stuff. But like at the same time, like, is it good? Is it bad? Does it ruin the movie experience for you? Like I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's this thing where you're like, wow, I know this plot point's coming up. I can't wait to see this guy holding this like prop and this whole thing come together because I read about it and it's gonna be so cool in the movie. And then when you finally see that scene in the movie, you're like, oh, that's it.
Well, I just think it's like, why take away a moment? You know, like I don't like watching trailers of a movie I know I'm going to see. And Blaine ruined one horrible thing for me from
What movie?
How to Train Your Dragon 2.
Oh,
But
yeah.
imagine if you were on a message board. It was 1981 was it when the Empire Strikes Back, or 82? Imagine you're on a message board and then someone guessed the spoiler, which I will not reveal for those of you who have not seen.
For Empire?
Yeah. It was somebody spoiled that Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Yeah, which is
someone
everyone
suggested
knows
that,
now.
and then you thought about it, like, oh, I wonder if that's the case, and then it happened. Do you really think it'd be better to hear someone else come to that
No,
conclusion
yeah.
than to experience in the movie?
'Cause you're
so
just
why do you
waiting.
want to do anything else?
You're just waiting for the whole movie. You're like, well, I know this is going to happen at some point.
just
Yeah.
sit back and go into it not knowing anything. Like Terminator 2 is another great example. To go
yeah.
into that movie not knowing, spoiler, that
Schwarzenegger's the good guy.
That's a
Schwarzenegger
very
is
good
the
point.
good guy. That would have been amazing. Like that would have just. It would have been like
Yeah.
I would have walked out the theater and be like, I can't handle it.
Yeah.
They got me so bad.
Because the way they totally set that up is they make Robert Patrick look like he's the good guy. Because everyone knows that Schwarzenegger's the good Terminator in part 2. But like up until that point, like when they show him walking down the hall with the roses and the gun, and it's like
He's about to blast the kid
like,
away.
Yo, scariest fucking music.
Yeah.
And when they
Yeah.
show Robert Patrick, it's like almost kind of heroic music.
Yeah.
And it's like total flip flop.
Well,
and then
cool, too, 'cause
get
in-
down.
Yeah, get
you know,
down.
like, and it's
Yeah.
such a strong.
There it is.
It's
Hey,
such-
Patrick, you
nice.
take that down right now. No.
you think if they were on Tatooine, he'd have cowboy boots?
Maybe. I don't know.
He would have exactly what he wore in A New Hope when he was
I
on.
like
No,
how
the
Blaine's
joke
like
was-
actually offended.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
The
super
joke was
offended.
wearing
Yeah,
stuff.
we're
What is
peeing on his geek Bible.
Everyone
Anyway.
on Twitter is like all over Blaine and his nerdism for
No,
Star
it's all-
Wars.
What are they saying?
I don't want to tell you. You're just gonna get a bigger
Blaine's
head,
gonna
sir.
fight
No.
him.
Yeah. Well, no, it's funny watching Blaine talk about Star Wars, and I get similar when I talk about the Marvel comics. But watching Blaine talk about Star Wars, it's like watching Vin Diesel talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
So if you go on YouTube and find the interviews where he talks about Dungeons and Dragons, he geeks fucking.
he wrote
out.
the foreword for some like.
Yeah, for one of the books, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, so if you were dungeon blah blah blah, and he's like, well, what level blah blah blah? What's my magic at? Like, you know, he
Yeah.
knows
Yeah,
his
it's
shit.
slowly. Yeah, he has one of the tattoos that he has. It's like his old character from when he played
D&D.
Yeah, D&D.
Blaine and I did the Disney movie studio. We went there and we didn't really know what was there. We're like, oh, there's a Star Wars thing. So then we passed by this stage where Darth Vader and stormtroopers were dancing around. We're like, all right.
How big of a boner did Blaine have?
And then we
That's the real
found the
question.
ride.
Star Tours.
And it was like cool. It was interesting. And then
yeah.
you get in the tram, and then the visor opens in the tram, and there's somebody sitting there, and you're like, mind blown.
Yeah.
And like they're actually in there with you. And then you start, this epic adventure. And we didn't find out until 2 days later that we had visited Hoth. That if you go on it more, you visit other.
Apparently, Tatooine and Naboo are the
Missed
other ones.
opportunity.
Other
That's
I'm going back.
Kashyyyk was there too.
I am going back. so-
Blaine, here's what I don't get.
What's up?
You love Star Wars, yet you have not played what I do feel many think is definitely the best video game adaptation, but one of the best fiction expanded universe adaptations
Old
of Star
Republic.
Wars, Knights of the Old Republic,
Yeah.
and to a lesser degree, Knights of the Old Republic 2, which was still fantastic.
Listen, I mean, that's just me because I don't like RPGs, and we're straying away from movies right now, but and we'll get back to it. I just don't like RPGs, but I have played like Shadow of the Empire and fucking Rogue Squadron. I've played a lot of the Star Wars games, and I do plan on going back, but my fear is that the farther and further I
You would
go,
not
it's
regret it.
older. It's getting older and older and shittier. So like, I'm afraid.
Oh, nostalgia will help you.
I'll play it eventually, though.
Well, so let's talk. So
Star Wars.
a lot of Star Wars talk, a lot of Harrison Ford talk. I recently got to see a press screening of Expendables 3, which just came out in theaters last Friday.
Nice.
So Harrison Ford's in it along with Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and a bunch of people that I couldn't even name if I wanted to because there's so many people. But we did get to interview a really awesome guy. His name was Glenn Powell. He's been in some other movies, but we do have an interview with him, and he's gonna tell us a little bit about the Expendables. So let's go and check out Mr. Glenn Powell.
Back to you, Glenn.
Hey guys, JJ here with Screenplay, hanging out with Mr. Glenn Powell from the Expendables 3. Glenn, thanks for making time.
Dude, thank you, man. This is dope.
So I was looking at your IMDb night. You've done some indies. You did The Great Debaters with Denzel. Now, let me ask you: Did you know at some point you're going to be moving into action movie territory? Did you know you're going to be an action star?
I think every guy, when he gets into film, wants to be an action star. I mean, to shoot guns and like kill bad guys and jump off, slide down roofs, and just that's as cool as it gets. Some people get into the business to win awards. I just like to have fun.
There's definitely scenes where you're with some of the like A-list action stars of the century. So, what would Glenn Powell at 8
tell Glenn Powell today if he saw him in a room with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
When I was filming a scene, there's a scene where have you seen the movie yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a scene at the end where we all like team up, and I'm running down the hallway with Statham and Antonio. Remember we were like going to that thing right before we like team up and like go kick ass. I literally, it was like right when we like moved, I had like 104-degree fever that day. I was like dead. I was like about to just croak because Bulgaria just gets you whenever you get. And all of a sudden I just realized I was like just chilling with all these guys, and like the 8-year-old self, like it's a serious moment in the movie, and I was like, oh God, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of moments where the little boy inside, because you grow up pretending you're on a playground, pretending to shoot bad guys with these guys, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you find yourself on a set actually doing it. It's the most surreal, cool thing you can imagine.
So in the film, you play kind of a computer nerd hacker type.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, how good are your Minecraft Redstone skills?
Ooh, Minecraft. A lot of my buddies are big gamers. I am not. I wish I was more tech savvy. I really wish I was. I love listening to podcasts. I wish I was this guy in real life, because like I think that is the future. I'm always jealous of people that like can come up with apps and then like execute them. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got a great app idea.
I got a great idea.
Yeah. And then I'm like, all right. I'm like looking into the logistics of how you actually like create an app, and I'm like, well, I'll just give up on this dream. Let's just give up on this dream. This is not
we had
gonna
a good
happen.
run.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, look in that camera, and to anyone on the fence about seeing this movie, tell them why they should go see this movie.
I mean, look at the names on the poster. Number one. Let me tell you, you haven't seen Mel in a long time. He's been off the radar. The guy crushes it in this movie. So Mel was like, we're all sitting there. I put my mom in the movie, so she actually gets to be in the movie. And you know the scene in the art gallery?
Yes.
She's in that scene.
Oh, wow.
Mama Powell is in that scene. And so we put her in the movie, and so I'm not even filming that day. I'm just hanging out with
Wait,
Mel
you
and
put
my
your
mom.
you put your mom in a scene where there's a bunch of gunfire?
It's same. It's just flash bulbs. And so she's in that scene, and my what we did was, it was just my mom, Mel, and I hanging out. And Mel will just tell jokes for like 2 hours straight, and then he takes his shirt off. It was like really hot, and my mom makes this. She goes, "Oh," just like looks right at his abs and just goes, "Oh," and I was like, the hell was that noise? Like, you know what I mean? And Mel's like, looks at me, he's like, I still got it. And I was like, this is such a weird moment, but kind of cool. But you have, as far as this movie, it is definitely the best of the three. I think they get it right. Every major action star, and I think it's just a damn fun movie experience. You know, I think there's a lot of movies that take themselves seriously, and I think this one's just all fun.
Nice. So that was Glenn Powell from Expendables 3. Barbara, I think while we were watching the footage, Barbara was like, "Oh, he can expend me."
I was very distracted by the footage of Glenn.
He was a really, really
He
nice
was a
guy.
really awesome, nice guy.
We should give him a
Well,
shout
Glenn,
out.
if you're watching,
I don't get it, Barbara.
wink, wink. I'll expend some time with you.
I think he's got family here in Austin. He's from Austin. He was born and raised here in Austin. So that was it was cool chatting him.
And his mom was there for the interview too. She
Yeah.
was really
Are
sweet.
you serious? That's so cute.
Yeah, he was taking his mom around. He's like,
you're just getting
Mom.
him so many points right now with Babs.
You
hey,
are, yeah.
Glenn, you're my bro, Glenn. I got your back.
As soon as we left, me and Blaine were packing up all the gear because Blaine shot the interview for me. And we were walking off, and I was like, "You think you could fight him, Blaine?"
After that, I was like, he's a really, really cool guy. I want to be in an action movie
Well, it
now.
was so hard to take him seriously as so I saw Expendables 3. It was so hard to take him seriously as the computer nerd in the movie because he's like stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like
You
this,
think he would have like an
He's
action
like breaking
role
the
in that.
keys as he's trying to.
Well, there's not so many spoilers, but like, okay, so the whole scene when he gets introduced, like Kelsey Grammer is taking Sylvester Stallone to get like a new like group of young Expendables for this mission, and so he's like, "I got the greatest like computer guy for you, hacker guy." So they go out like literally drive out to the middle of nowhere where there's just like a mountain, and the shot's just this like weird schlubby like internet kid on a computer at this picnic table, and Sylvester Stallone's like, "I don't think this guy's gonna work out for me," and Kelsey Grammer's like, "No, not that guy." That guy, and it's this guy like climbing the rock, and it's Glenn Powell, and all I could think is, who's this kid? Though?
It's the middle
like,
of
why
nowhere.
did he drive out to here just to like play on the internet?
Also, like, poor kid.
Yeah, right. He's really proud to show his friends that scene.
But that movie was it was fun. It was it just kind of shut your mind off. It's PG-13, a little different from the first two that were like a hard R. My biggest bummer in it going into it was that I mean I don't really care too much about like some of these action stars, but I do love Terry Crews, and I'll talk to you about Brooklyn Nine-Nine here in a bit. But I love Terry
Terry's
Crews
awesome.
from Old Spice, and
I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know if you're spoiling it.
no, I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying that he's
punch you.
he's in the beginning of the movie for a while, and then he kind of disappears, and he's at the end of the movie.
You're spoiling.
Well, that's the thing. It's my
Let's spoil.
favorite.
Punch
I hate
him.
you so much.
Punch
you
him.
you get no more popcorn. But anyway, the movie it came out. Oh, you
God
knocked some
damn.
popcorn over.
Sorry, Kara. Kara, don't give me that face. I'm sorry.
Let's cut. Hey, can we start the podcast over again? We start
Cleaning it up. I'll eat it all.
Are those towels?
Yeah,
inside?
it's
Is that not all popcorn?
We've been deceived. We couldn't
alive.
afford a whole
Been
thing of
living a
popcorn.
lie.
You guys are making this the worst podcast for the audio
They're
listeners.
really good though.
It is.
But okay, so
never
anyone,
be back on screenplay.
Expendables 3, it didn't perform as high as everyone was expecting. It came in underneath, I think, Guardians, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
You think maybe it's because
Let's Be Cops was
PG-13?
above it too.
Well, I think it's just because when the first Expendables came out, everybody was just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
All these guys are in a movie together. This is unheard of.
Yeah.
You've never seen this before. This is crazy. This is going to blow your mind. But when you do it again, it has been done with
Yeah.
the first one.
And
And you
then
do it the
a
third,
third
it
time.
loses that, I don't know if the word is charm, but definitely
no.
appeal. So I do get that. But I mean, it still did well. I'm glad people enjoy it.
Yeah, there's definitely a part of me watching it, and like it's Mel Gibson now in 2014 and Sylvester Stallone now in 2014. But there's definitely a part when you're watching Mel Gibson and Sylvester Stallone like fight each other hardcore. You're like, dude, that's totally Riggs and Rambo fighting each other.
Yeah, I
That's
would almost
pretty
feel
awesome.
uncomfortable. Like, no one break a hip, please.
well, no, not because they're old, but just because you're like these guys would have never done a movie together in the 90s together,
Yeah.
and now they're fighting each other.
Like Stallone came out recently and said that he used to hate Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
Oh, I can because they were like
Yeah.
the different versions of each other.
Yeah, and they always did references to each other's movies in their films. You know?
Which is why I love Last Action Hero, which is kind of a bad movie. But there's a scene wherever they go to the alternate reality, and then like they're at a movie store, and then there's like a Terminator 2 poster, but instead it has Sylvester Stallone's face on it. It's pretty good.
And like
Yeah, it's a nice
Twins, I
little
think
in-joke.
Twins, he goes up to a Rambo poster and then Schwarzenegger just flexes and he's like, and just walks off. It's pretty great.
In the first one, I had a really silly moment. The guy from Rocky 4, who plays the Russian, Lothgo, he starts with an L.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah,
He's
he
in 'em.
I
fights
must crush
Jet
you.
Li in the first one, and if I'm not mistaken, like he beats him, like they in a hand-to-hand fight, and I'm just like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't. My brain cannot think beats Jet Li, and so it's weird because you take the fiction from one movie
Yeah.
and you're applying it to the fiction of another,
Yeah.
and you're like, maybe if this was Russia or something.
I just like movies like Expendables because it's like, it's not known for the amazing story or the amazing plot or whatever. It's just like fun. You just go and
Yeah.
you enjoy yourself. It's just pure action and all these big names.
You know,
why
you know
is
what to
it-
expect.
Why is
Exactly.
why is it flopping then? Like, what is it
Wait,
about
how much
it?
money has it made?
It made like 15, 16.
But you guys also forget, I mean, when the first movie came out, they made 35 million here in the US. Second movie came out, they made 28 million. But the second movie overseas made over 200 million.
yeah,
Like,
it's one of those
so
movies. It's one of those
overseas it
movies
has
that like.
an appeal.
Like a lot of movies
Yeah.
that we get here, like go like straight to VHS or like nothing goes to VHS anymore. But
Yes, JJ.
they go straight to Betamax. But
They
you
go to
understand-
floppy disk.
You got to understand that overseas movies that like
Yeah.
maybe not do too well, like Man of Tai Chi, the Keanu Reeves movie. I think it came out in VOD in the States, but in Asia, in Asia, it was like huge release.
Yeah, Americans underestimate how, or obsession
Not
not the right
anymore.
word, but
Yeah.
like how big all these figures are. Like my dad's from Iran, and his brother, when my dad was visiting, was like, "Did you hear Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt broke up?" And my dad was like, "What?" Like, because they just get so attached, to these films and
Yeah.
these figures, and they mean probably more to them than they do to us, because I
Yeah.
think we get a little bit jaded.
Totally.
So, yeah, I mean, that's not surprising at all. But I mean, still, $50 million for a theatrical release is pretty good.
Yeah, that's
they're
gonna
going to
stick
bank
at.
for
Yeah.
video. It's
Especially
all video.
at the same time as TMNT and Guardians. Like, those are
Yeah,
pretty big
yeah.
movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So to go up against those in the same week is like,
God, Guardians. Is
So
good.
we talked a lot about films today. Let's talk a little about TV. I get a tweet, I swear, after every show that people are like, talk about Orange is the New Black. Talk about Orange is the New Black. And it's a show that I'm not so versed in. My girlfriend watches the shit out of it.
I've seen the first 2 seasons.
Okay, so you're familiar. It did really well. Joey, tell us a little bit about the Creative Arts Emmys and who did well.
Well, the crazy thing about this is that Netflix kind of did really well this time in the Emmys, but Orange is the New Black specifically won for Best Guest Actor in a Comedy Series, and also got a lot of writing honors as well. So it's really doing really well. A lot of people love the show, but now it's getting its cred, so that's pretty cool.
And Bob's Burgers did well as well, right?
Fucking Bob's Burgers.
I
am
love
right?
that
Best
show.
animated program. It beat out. Who did it beat out? Let me check.
Hey, what, you asking me? I don't
so
have a
happy.
laptop in front of me, Joey.
I'm
No,
so
chill
happy
out.
that Bob's Burgers is finally getting some recognition.
Yeah,
Sean
yeah.
Benjamin.
I
Is
feel
the
like it's just
best.
been going under the radar ever since it started.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden
no.
now everybody's actually like, oh, this is
Well,
hilarious.
I feel like shows like Netflix. I think mediums like Netflix help, like
Yeah.
because you don't watch it on TV, but it's on Netflix, so you're gonna sit around and binge watch. We're gonna talk about binge watching right after this, but yeah, so it's good to see people getting their just desserts after making a good show, because it'd be like awful if it was one of those shows that was like that got canceled and you're like, oh, I watched that later, it was really good,
Yeah. We'll say real quick, the weird thing about that show, in the second season, they take the A storyline from the first season, like the lead character, and then I'm so bad with the names, and then the actress from that 70s show.
Oh, Laura
and they're
Prepon.
their roles in the second season are so reduced, and then the rest of the cast, their storyline drives everything. Like they're the
Yeah.
more important thing, and like you like those characters more. So it's interesting to see them gravitate towards the B team, and like that really becomes the heart of the show.
The B team.
We are the B
The
team
Barbara
right now.
Blaine Brandon show. What's funny is I heard that, and the fans reacted to that, and I think everyone got to like start to like people that they don't get to see that much. But at the same time, the writers came out and said Laura Prepon's character is going to be in every episode of season 3. So she's going to be back hard. It's something I don't know anything about Orange is the New Black, so you probably have to like kind of explain this to me. But there's a character that's a post-op, or she's like is she a transvestite?
Yes, she's post-op, and that's why she's in prison.
Yeah.
Because she was really important for her to get that surgery.
Yeah.
And oh man,
They have
the
flashback
storyline
sequences,
with
right?
her and her son.
Yeah.
Are truly amazing. I mean, it's unlike anything that you've ever seen on TV, and you wonder if Netflix can do it because they don't have to worry about.
They don't have to worry about time or graphic or whatever.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about sponsors and
There
ads.
you go.
They don't have to worry about generic ad company. I don't want to say something. Being upset, they can do it and they can go there.
Yeah.
And the fact that they went there and as much as they did was pretty phenomenal.
Well, her
It's
name's
really-
Laverne Cox, and she's actually the very first transgendered woman to be nominated for an Emmy,
Oh, wow.
which was
Oh,
in
wow.
that category. That Crazy Eyes, if y'all for whoever watched Orange is the New Black, she won. But in that category, out of all the 5 nominations, 3 of them were for Orange was the New Black, and one of them was Laverne Cox. And Laverne Cox has been getting a lot of media for kind of breaking the barrier of not
That's
giving a fuck
awesome.
and just being herself in a very successful show.
Well, it's cool how many opportunities there are for female actresses in that show.
True.
I mean, I don't know if you broke down every show if it would be 50-50 between male and female characters. I would venture to say it's possible that there's more opportunities for male actors than female.
Mm-hmm.
So to see a show like that have pretty much 90% of the roles for female actresses, and to see them come to the light like this, especially the captain of the Star Trek Voyager, who plays Red, the Russian woman on that. To see them get all this opportunity is pretty phenomenal.
Well, something's really interesting. Like I said, I'm not really too versed in the show, but I do know that this transvestite post-op character, that when they show flashbacks of her not in the prison, she's presented as full male. She's a man because she hasn't had the surgery yet.
Well, that's a whole other discussion of identification with gender. I think she's still a woman, gender
Well,
wise.
the discussion the point I'm making is that a lot of people think that it's her playing that role. It's actually her twin brother.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool.
that plays for those scenes. So I just
Mind
blew your
blown.
mind.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I mean, if they look close enough,
Which
like
is
that it's convincing.
I think it's cool whenever twins can like do things like that. Like another situation was Linda Hamilton has a twin sister.
Yeah.
And then Terminator 2, there's a scene where
Yeah.
she's in front of the mirror and she's doing stuff. And instead of doing a mirror, they literally cut a hole in the wall, made a mirrored room, and had Linda Hamilton's sister on their side mirroring.
And they matched everything.
They
the
mirrored
actors,
all
they
the
did
shots.
Schwarzenegger and the kid.
I don't even know if they used the shot, but I saw it
I
in the
think they did
special.
because it's when they're performing surgery on someone. They did that, and Tom Hanks doesn't have a twin, I don't think, but he was his running double in Forrest Gump.
Tom Hanks' brother,
Harrison Ford, I think, did that
Tom
too.
Hanks' brother sounds so much like him that he does all the voice for Woody and all the other like merchandise
Offshoot.
and TV stuff.
Interesting.
Rembrandt Brown from Sliders has a twin brother. So when he met himself in another dimension, you could tell the way they were staging it. They just wanted to show off how they have a twin brother.
Yeah.
They were like, look at us, look what we're doing. It's obviously not green screen splicing.
Yeah,
It was cute.
No, that's good to
Can
know.
we talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, that's what the next show is. They're going to talk about what is the most underrated show ever or now on TV. I think me and Brandon both we both think that Brooklyn Nine-Nine doesn't have as many viewers as it deserves.
Venture
Yeah,
Brothers.
the whole thing I believe is on Hulu as well. If you are
you ever- yeah,
curious.
I
check-
think it just got pegged as one of those really cheesy, lame comedies.
That's
People
exactly
don't
what
give
it
the
is.
chance,
But it's
yeah.
so good though. Like Terry Crews is in it. Joe Trujillo from like The State and a bunch of other stuff. Andy Samberg is the lead, but Terry Crews is a really big part.
Yeah, he's super hilarious.
And it's just this thing where there's like an ensemble cast, and you get used to them, and like they're running storylines, and it's so well written.
I think what happened is you had movies
Yeah.
that people think weren't that good. I mean, you had the Jimmy Fallon, Queen Latifah movie. You had Cop Out, which I think was Bruce Willis
Yeah.
and Tracy Morgan. And then I think there's
People got burned
one
out
or
on
two
it.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're just trained that a cop comedy is obviously not going to be very good, especially when you introduce somebody like Andy Samberg,
Yeah.
who feels like can go into any role and just be silly.
Yeah.
But it's good, and it's one of those shows that evolves and becomes more about the ensemble than it does about
Yeah.
Andy Samberg.
I'll have to watch that.
What's that character's name? The suck up, the like Hispanic chick that's like she's like always sucking up. It's not Santiago.
Is it Captain Simmons?
No, I'm really horrible with
But,
names, but it's a good. I don't know if we've talked about it, but in the
Yeah.
first episode, her character is hard, and she's competing with Andy Samberg.
And she
but
kinda
then-
softens up.
Yeah, they change it, and she
Yeah.
evolves, and then she becomes the
Oh, and
suck-up.
Chelsea Peretti's on it too. But one of my favorite lines is like Sandberg and her get an argument, and he's like he calls her Iago. He's like whatever Iago, and she's like, wow, I can't believe you've actually read Othello. And he's like, what Othello? I'm calling you the parrot from Aladdin.
It's Detective Diaz.
What's that?
Her name's Detective Diaz.
Detective
Diaz.
Diaz. It's so good. What do you guys think is an underrated show on TV?
I might get a lot of shit for this, but I really enjoyed Desperate Housewives when it was on a couple years ago. I thought the writing was brilliant for that show. It was very funny and very dark, and I feel like it just got pegged again as one of those like
Cheesy housewife
romantic comedies that only women should
shows. Well,
watch.
the whole show is like told by the story of like one of the dead housewives.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it was a brilliant show, and I'm really sad that it didn't get more.
Well, do you feel-
I think it was appreciated more
In
when
its-
it was
in its earlier
running,
seasons.
and then after that, because then you had the Desperate Housewives of Atlanta.
No,
Desperate
no.
Housewives.
That's not
That's Real Housewives.
That's Real
No. What
Housewives.
I'm saying though is, I think those shows. That's what I'm saying. Like when it aired, it was more appreciated and was viewed as satire. But then you had all these other shows come out,
Yeah.
these reality shows, and then it gets mixed in with like that
I see
perception
what
and
you're
that
saying.
idea.
Totally.
Then
Well,
you start looking back on it. You're like, oh yeah, that show was like they were just women, you know,
I think
like
one of the things-
housewife,
I
born
think one of
housewives.
the things that really took away from that show is the fact that there was so much behind the scene drama going on
Mm-hmm.
that the media wouldn't shut up about. So you couldn't even care about the show anymore. You're like, oh, Terry Hatcher and Felicity Huffman. No, what's William H.
Felicity Huffman.
Felicity Huffman, William H. Macy's wife, are like they hate each other. So and so wants a raise, but so and so's not going to get it. So there was so much, and like Eva Mendes or is it Longoria?
Eva Longoria.
Eva Longoria.
It was Longoria, and all this stuff was going on. So it just became this thing where like they took this photo for the People magazine, and there was so much fighting going on set, and you're like, after a while, you like that took main stage over the show.
See, and that's the shitty thing is when you know that there's drama behind the scenes, it's
Yeah.
hard to enjoy a movie or TV show. 'Cause
Totally.
It's just like you're thinking like, oh, these are actors and they hate each other. You
Yeah.
know, like this scene was
What's
hard for
what's
them
a
to
show
do.
that had a lot of drama behind the scenes? I know
like-
Grey's Anatomy ran into some trouble.
Yeah.
but that was like an isolated incident.
Oh god, there's a couple of
There's been a lot. I think
Friends?
Martin with Martin Lawrence, that old like sitcom.
pretty much.
He had like a this like restraining order from the girl that played his wife on the show in real life had a
Really?
restraining order from him. So there's some
Edward
stuff.
Norton, he's like really difficult to. They're like actors that
Whoa,
are
yeah,
difficult
but
to work
that's
with,
like
you know?
well known, like Edward Norton, Shia LaBeouf,
LaBeouf.
and stuff.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I forget who told the story, but they told it really well. Will Smith didn't get along with the actress who played his mom.
So they got rid of her.
Yeah, and they're like, like each of them were
that
butting
true?
heads, and it's like the
His
actress
actor's
didn't
mom.
realize this is Will. It's his show.
Yeah.
like you shouldn't be like trying to stand your ground. So then they replaced her, and they did that thing they've done in a lot of different shows where when she shows up, the new actress shows up for the first time, Will Smith's like, did you change your hair? And then everybody has a good laugh at it, but I guess
the
it's,
actress is crying.
The best kind of
that's at least the story that I heard.
The best version of that, I think, is in Iron Man 2. Whenever Don Cheadle shows
Oh,
up
yeah.
as Rhodey, and he's not Terrence Howard, and he's like, and Rob Downey Jr. is like, what are you doing here? And he's like, listen, I'm here. It's me. Let's do this. And he just like it's like, oh, that's great.
It's almost as they're talking to the audience.
Yeah,
I love Terrence Howard.
he's okay.
He was also, I think, overpaid and difficult to work with.
Yeah,
mine.
underrated show.
I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's Venture Brothers. It was on Adult
I think that
Swim.
one's doing okay.
Yeah, I feel like it deserves way more attention than it's getting.
I was
'cause
really
it's
into
a
the
fucking
first
solid
couple
show.
seasons, like Dr. Girlfriend, all that, the Monarch, all that stuff. Like, I
Girlfriend.
fell off a bit.
It was
Sweetie.
Nice.
was-
All right.
We haven't
Sweetheart.
talked about John Dies at the end.
Yeah, let's talk about our movie book.
All 2 minutes
Our movie
left.
book of the week. We always go over it a little bit. It's no big deal.
Oh, is it?
But before we do,
Plane's gonna wash off set.
yeah, he's like, I'm gonna take this popcorn and I'm leaving.
Pour it on all, yeah.
Asshole.
What? This is how you pour popcorn?
Yeah, just pour all the popcorn.
Your father taught you wrong. Joey, will you let us know the quote? I can already tell you what it was. I'm gonna guess the quote of it's Wall Street. It's
Gecko.
Gordon Gecko.
Yeah, Gordon Gecko from Wall Street, 1987, and Nicholas Romalo. I hope I said it right. It's my Latino tongue there. At Slayer King 5000, got it right, beating out Mona P. Bird, who always gets it right. So.
Yeah,
Good
Mona.
job.
Mona.
Well, we look forward. Mona, she put it on her Rooster Teeth on her Rooster Teeth account. She's like, all I gotta do is 3 and I can retire. So she's got one more and then she's done. But
3 strikes, you're in.
Rooting for you.
yeah, there you go. So we all watched John Dies at the End this week, and oh, did we?
Oh, did we watch it?
And it was a movie that I've been meaning to watch. I was at the opening at the Alamo. I did some interviews. I never actually saw the movie. It's Don Coscarelli, or is it Carini? I think it's Coscarelli. He did Phantasm. He did Beastmaster. He did Bubba Hotep. So this is a movie that was based on a really awesome book that everyone, like Miles told me it's his favorite book.
Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, he directed Bubba Hotep.
Awesome. Yeah, okay, I can see it now.
Almost everything in this trailer is from the third act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what I enjoy the most. Like everything before that is like super disjointed.
Really?
And you're like,
I'm the
I don't know
opposite.
what's
I
going
am
on.
the
I
opposite.
gotta disagree with you. The third act is where it lost me. Like the third
Really?
act,
Yeah.
Ditto.
The third act was like I was super into it. Like I loved the mall stuff. I loved the house stuff. I loved the diner stuff. Like the real like him driving in the car with Doug Jones, by the way, in the back seat, who was really cool. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. But as soon as they went to the third act, I was like, oh, this alternate
That's where
reality.
it just got like, they're like, how much weird shit can we throw in
but
here
also
right
the
now?
quality kind of fell to me too. Like it went from looking like a really well done movie to looking like a TV, like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, let's
the
change the sepia on
Special
this right
effects
here.
was pretty shit.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's certain sacrifices you have to make in quality in order to really execute the author's vision. What I felt like is the movie either should have been an extra hour or they needed to cut stuff out from the first 2 acts because I think things are disjointed and they're hard to follow. And that's not to say that I think movies have to be fully linear. Like 21 Grams, Pulp Fiction, Memento, all had, disjointed plots, but things just didn't add up. Like I was like, I don't understand why I just watched the scene that I watched. And I was trying to get into it, but nothing flowed together for me. And that's not to say that you can't enjoy something that's not traditional, but it wasn't like a pleasant movie-going experience. Then we got to the third act. I was like, I finally see what we've been working towards.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah,
where we're
makes
at
sense.
now, and I see where their journey is going. Like if a third act of a movie, if that loses you, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because everything you enjoyed, maybe it wasn't as good as you thought it was because it's not setting you up for what is the heart of the movie. So, but I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just a different
No,
experience.
I mean, hey, like that's funny. Like, I'm glad that I like something different than you like something different from it. I really enjoyed whenever John calls him on the phone when he's talking.
Yeah.
That was
Hot dog.
that was an amazing
And he's
moment.
right
And then
there.
the whole twist at the end with Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, that was good too.
That was cool. Like there's some stuff that
was a good
so
payoff.
That was good,
well
yeah.
calculated that I couldn't just help but be like, this is really out there, and I like it. For
Yeah,
that.
I liked whenever he would just like, okay, and you can ask Brandon. I went into this like fucking like, oh god, I gotta watch this movie. Like
Yeah.
I was not, and then
He's
like
lying.
first act, I was like, this is awesome. Like
Yeah.
when he zoned out And he's like doing his inner monologues. I was just laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
Have you ever wanted to shoot someone so bad you get hard, or whatever the quote is?
Yeah.
It made me laugh so hard.
Well, Doug Jones is the guy in the car, and he shows up again when they're like with
Drago and
but Doug Jones, that's the
and
first time.
Hellboy.
That's the first time you've ever seen him really in a movie with his face covered up. He's like all of
Hellboy.
Guillermo del Toro's like Beast. He's in Pan's Labyrinth. He's in Hellboy. He's in Legion. He's in all these movies. He's always the monster. You never see his face.
Creepy looking dude.
He's
so lanky.
He's so lanky and whatever.
Slender
But,
man.
so it's really interesting to see him actually talking for once, and it was good. It was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole scene when they talk to the Rasta guy,
Yeah.
and like he's
Robert
like
Marley.
yeah, when they're like he's like calling him out and every stuff. I was like, man, I'm really digging the feel of this. And like I said, like maybe it's one of these movies. Like maybe the more and more I watch it, it'll make more sense to me, or I'll enjoy it. Because now Third Act's not a surprise to me anymore. Now
I think that's a movie you're going to enjoy the second time
think
because
so.
you understand what it is.
Yeah. Joey,
Like,
can you do me a favor and look up the actor, the lead? Sorry. Not John. the other guy.
You understand what you're
David
going
Wong?
into and the parameters of the world it's setting.
Yeah.
Like that's what's tough because like I never watched the trailer because whatever.
Yeah.
So trying to basically figure out the world that
Yeah.
it's in and then enjoy that world is harder when you don't know anything.
What else has he been in? I feel like we need to see him more. He was pretty good.
No, I did like the
Talking
lead.
about Rob Mays?
Yeah. What else has he been in? Anything big?
Let's check it out.
Sorry, I thought he was a really good.
No,
was
he
great.
held it down. He held
Yeah.
it down, and John was good too.
John was all right, yeah.
I didn't know if I was
I
gonna
thought
like
John
John.
was great comedic
Yeah.
relief.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, he was
I thought
really
John
good.
was really
He reminded me kind of like
fantastic.
a Rob Lowe at times,
Yeah.
like a young Rob Lowe. But yeah, no, I really.
I'm sorry, Rob Lowe, if you're watching this. I think you look
But
great.
it's, here's the thing about John Dies at the End. If you've never read the book, you like the movie. If you've read the book, from what I've heard from everyone on Twitter and on the internet, you hate the movie. But that's the thing for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
'cause-
rare to find people who
Not Harry
really
Potter.
love the books and
Yeah.
thought the movie was fantastic.
Yeah, because it's a certain thing. It's like a certain car in your head. It's a certain color shade of jacket in your head. It's like the guy looks like this in your head. So when you finally see a real guy dressed in that outfit and that car show up, you're like, it's not at all what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So it's never going to match your expectations.
Nah, he's only been in like a couple of other things, like The Client List and 90210. He had like a kind of like little
and
arcs
then you
there,
want-
but other than
Dude,
that,
cast,
good.
cast,
Never really been there.
cast David Wong. That's not his real name. David Wong's actually a writer for the guy who writes the book. He's a writer at Cracked, the website.
Oh no shit.
cool.
Yeah. So and he's got
Solid.
and there's a
I can see that some of
yeah.
the tangents that the guy goes
so
off
out
on,
there.
Weird.
And there's a sequel to the book, and I think it's called "This Book Is Full of Spiders." No, dude, seriously, it's full of spiders.
That's
or
pretty
something.
awesome. Wait, can we talk about the name of the movie and how that fits into the story?
Yeah, see,
because
I said I didn't like the fact because I was like, wait, John died in the middle. But he
Yeah.
didn't. But then he didn't die, and at the end, they totally tease you because it's like they're showing the credits.
keep waiting for
yeah,
him
they
to
show
die.
the credits, like the credits are rolling, and then it shows a little bit of a movie, and the credits are rolling, and then it shows a little bit of the movie, and you're like, okay, when's John gonna die?
Yeah. Here's
he's
the
gonna
thing,
die.
though.
He's gonna die.
Everybody dies at the end.
Yeah, that's what Jen.
They
that's-
talked about
That's
that.
what my girlfriend was telling me. She was like, "Well, because the whole thing is like time travel doesn't exist. Like he's talking to him from like the future and from the past. So obviously John dies at the end." And I was like, "I don't know. I didn't know if I felt about that."
But
I
he went
guess
to-
I wasn't expecting him to die because I was like, I finally understand this world. There's like more than one meaning. Like the meaning that we immediately associate with a phrase or a word, it's not real. Like it's like a whole. It's like a whole perspective that we can't comprehend, and that's the point of the movie. Is to take your reality and flip it 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
I guess 1,000 degrees divided by 180, that might not be that much. Anyway, so I thought that aspect of it was cool, and I wasn't expecting anything from that.
Well, so there you go. John Dies at the End. If you didn't check it out, you can check it out on the internet. It's definitely. Would you recommend it? I'd recommend it.
I would recommend
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think be prepared just to be confused.
Yeah.
But in a
Open
good
mind.
way. Yeah.
Yeah,
very
with
open
these
mind
with
it.
these expectations, I think you would enjoy it. Understanding.
Yeah, it's funny now when I watch these movies for the podcast because like I'm not just watching them for my own entertainment. Like I'm watching them going, Barbara's gonna watch this exact same scene. Like Blaine's gonna watch this exact.
Yeah.
Brand, like what are they gonna think?
Tits.
They're going to
Yeah.
see a lot of tits in
There's
one
boobs.
scene.
Boobies.
Like 80 of
It's
them.
funny because Barbara came up to me and she was like, maybe should we show movies with nudity and violence so much for our audience? And I was like, yeah, do fucking movies.
Yeah.
And then when I this week out for the movie book club for next week's movie book club, I was gonna say like fuck it, pedal to the metal, Trainspotting. It's
man, Trainspotting's crazy. And then you were like, they made this guy Obi-Wan?
Yeah. So here's the thing: I don't know. Should we do Trainspotting next week? Because it's like two kind of needle-centric movies in a row. I think it's okay.
see.
I asked Gus, and Gus said it's a great movie. We should show it.
I'll tell you this.
I've actually never seen it, so.
If you're asking
Maybe
about
I'll see
scenes
it.
that you saw that we were wondering what you thought or what we thought when we saw it, the thing that stood out to me was the eyes exploding. Because
in the
that
car,
was a
and John
moment
dies at
where
the
it's
end.
like, all right, I've met this character that I met before. He knows more than I thought he did. He says, I have a story, you have a story, we need to catch up. You're like, all right, well, I've seen this 1,000 times in a movie. And then his eyes explode, and you're like, go on, movie.
that was a great scene, by
When
the
the
way.
doorknob turned into a dick as he's
That
reaching
was
for it, I
funny.
was like, this movie.
That was
I was
funny.
like, I have approval.
I approve this
special
movie. All
movie.
right, we got to move on. We got to finish up here. Yeah, so next week, I was a little on the fence. I was going to pick a little safer movie, kind of an animated feature, but no, fuck it. Trainspotting. You can check it out. It's on the Internet Movie Flex thing. And
Netflix.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that thing. You can call it that if you want to.
He's got it on VHS. so.
Yeah. But anyway, the only thing I can say about the movie is if you watch it with the subtitles on. It'll be a lot easier if you've never seen it before. I had to watch it 4 times before I understood it. Like, there's such heavy accents.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. Danny Boyle directed it before he did Slumdog Millionaire, before he did 27 Hours and Sunshine, all these great movies. It was his second feature film, but it was his first like really big movie. Ewan McGregor, Robert Carlyle, Ewan Bremner, a lot of people. Check it out, Trainspotting. We're going to be talking about it next week. So before we end the podcast, guys, we always ask everyone a question of the week. The question this week is, what movie does everybody love that you guys hate or you just can't get into?
Donnie Darko. Is that count? I guess everybody doesn't love that. I guess come back to me.
You just answered it. Have it come back to you.
No, because then maybe everybody doesn't love that. Maybe people.
No,
do
a lot
hate
of
that
people
movie.
do love that. That's a good
praise
answer.
for being like different.
Memento. I love Christopher Nolan. That movie is so fucking frustrating for me to
It's so
watch.
good,
yeah,
though.
Yeah,
I can't make my voice any higher.
Yeah, I don't really like it.
I don't know
I'm
if we
just
can be friends anymore, but
That's
okay.
a great
See,
movie, dude.
Hey, I answered your question.
Sure.
It's true, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the one for me, and you guys probably will agree with me, but every young girl watching is going to be pissed. I don't like Pitch Perfect at all.
I've never seen it.
And it's gotten this like huge love, especially from like young girls,
Yeah,
and even
you
a
just-
lot of guys.
Excuse me, Barbara?
See, look, Ashley's looking at me and she's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I didn't like that movie.
That's weird.
I thought it was really over the
Oh,
top.
I'll say it, but I won't explain it because it'll be boring. The King's Speech.
Oh, really?
Hated it.
You motherfucker.
You really
dare
think
you.
that?
I like it.
Yeah.
Someone told
a
me
single man was Colin Firth should have won for the year before. If you haven't seen that film,
Oh, instead of King's
but
Speech.
I won't go into my big tirade about the King's
My
Speech.
friend Alice from the UK tweeted at me, and she was like, "Do you like Hocus Pocus? Because everyone likes it, and I fucking hate that movie." And I was like, "You kidding me? You talk about the dead guy that like cuts his mouth open with a knife and calls Bette Midler a bitch? That movie's fucking awesome.
and he's a nice guy. He's so sweet.
No, Hocus Pocus is the shit.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
He's
Toss
the
a
right
hat.
age for it. Yeah.
And Sarah Jessica Parker had to surround herself with such ugly ladies to make herself look good. She actually looks really. She looks
She's
hot.
really pretty.
She looks
Oh
hot in that movie.
She's
Yeah.
really pretty in that.
My favorite. I like Sarah Jessica Parker and Ed Wood because like she's reading a review from their play they did, and she's like reading the review, and she goes, "Do I really have the face of a horse?" and you're like, "Oh, somebody told her." But the
She
movie.
looked in the mirror.
My pick, the movie that everyone loves that I just could never get into, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate from this from rappers. Scarface.
Oh, you bitch!
Yeah,
No,
I can't, dude. I can't get into that movie. It's so 80s.
so fucking
the,
good.
The music is super
Awesome.
like synthy 80s.
It's very teal.
Oliver Stone wrote it. Brian De Palma directed it. At the very end, like Tony Montana's doing all this crazy shit, and at the very end, he gets taken out by this like Terminator-looking motherfucker with sunglasses and a gun, and like you're like, who fucking cares?
You should watch the original.
Oh, like the black and white one.
I'm not saying it's better or worse.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's interesting.
I just couldn't
like-
get into it. Like to me, it's so contrived, and I don't know. I could never get into Scarface.
All right,
I'm sorry.
the Paul Ingeman push it to the limit montage
to the
is so
limit.
fucking cool. I listen to that song when I work out. sometimes.
Nice.
It's a good movie.
Well, now you guys go. All right, we're a
Did
little
you
bit.
explain? Have you stopped working out?
No.
Never.
Okay. We weren't sure.
Is he getting a little?
Yeah,
You get a
I
little
mean, he's
soft
getting
there.
a little soft. I think we were all
This is a new shirt. I don't want to pop it off.
Stay
you know,
Puft
like,
Marshmallow Man over here.
just gonna-
All right, guys, that's the end of Screenplay. Do us a favor, if you want to see the picks from everyone else here at Rooster Teeth, go to roosterteeth.com/screenplaypicks. Oh, there's the camera. Screenplay picks. Check it out, and you'll see everyone's picks for the week. And then watch Trainspotting. Ask your parents' permission. It's a fucking hardcore movie, and there's fingers in my face. But we'll see you guys next time right here on Screenplay. See you guys later.
Bye. I love you.
Bye.